If you're going to get shot in the nuts, you want it to happen with a rubber bullet.
It's Thursday, February 11th, 2021. Episode 039. You are about to go down the rabbit hole with Joe and Brian. I'm Brian. With me, as always, is my good friend Joe. Joe, how you doing?
I'm well, and yourself?
Doing okay, man. Doing good. Wait, ready for this week to be over, though.
Ready.
Yeah.
Very ready. It seemed like the last few weeks I've been like, oh my god, I just can't wait for the week to be over. I can't wait for the weekend.
Yeah. I can't wait for like vacation.
Vacation? When is that?
Well, that's the thing. I haven't scheduled any yet, so
Yeah, I was about to say,
I guess that's on me.
I'm beginning to think, is that still a thing? Where are you going to go for vacation
Well,
anywhere?
that's true, man. I was really hoping that Biden would open things up when he got here, but that hasn't happened yet.
Well, he's planning on opening all the schools inside the first 100 days, and so once the kids get back, things are gonna start getting back to normal. I think.
Yeah. Uh, I don't know, man. It doesn't help me necessarily, but we'll see. Yeah, what else is going on? Still, the diet's still going good, man. I haven't fell off the wagon yet.
How many weeks is this? This is week 5.
It's probably 6. This weekend will be 6, probably.
Okay, so yeah, I think you first started talking about this our very first show of the new year.
Yep, that's right. That's right.
Yeah, you're like, I don't believe in like New Year's resolutions, but here's my New Year's resolution.
It's my non-resolution. That's why I'm able to stick to it.
Oh,
Because I didn't promise to stick to it.
oh. It's like a little reverse psychology there.
I tricked myself.
Hey,
I tricked myself into not eating. How do you do that?
well,
No, my calories are up a little bit this month. So far, I'm averaging about 800 calories a day.
that's still ridiculous.
Yeah, last month was around 6 though, but my carbs are still averaging around eight a day. So
Now, do you feel
still
like
still peeing dark purple on the keto sticks.
now? Do you like you ever like get like lightheaded or feel dumb?
No, that's a thing. It's called a keto flu, and a lot of times when you start like really depriving yourself
Carbs.
of like carbs and calories and things, you can get flu like symptoms where you. I mean, I didn't get like flu like symptoms, but I just had like I just wasn't feeling well. Um, there's this guy. He's on YouTube and he's about as obnoxious as they come, but he does this thing called the snake diet,
Hmm. What's that?
and he
Yeah,
ultimately
it doesn't sound pleasant just on its face.
yeah, it's essentially it's really only eat when you have to, and he kind of like I think ends up advocating maybe going for like 48 hours without eating and then eat a like a high protein low carb kind of a meal and then go another 48 hours. But he has this in the meantime he's got this stuff he calls it snake juice, and he's got the ingredients for it that you can make it. But it's essentially I kind of copied that in a way, but I just earlier on I would drink I'd like fill a big water bottle up and I'd just put a couple pinches of like Himalayan pink salt in it,
Hmm.
and I don't know what if that's like has electrolytes or I don't know what it does, but
Well,
it does end up curbing. I stopped it stopped making me feel bad and everything. So
salt is. I mean, electrolytes essentially are sodium.
okay, yeah.
Now, but what else is in this snake juice?
I can't remember. You'd have to you'd have to look it up, but um,
But I just wanted to read what it is because I had never heard of a snake diet. The snake
yeah,
diet.
find the guy. He'll see and see how long you can stand watching him.
Okay. But I haven't done that. Snake diet promotes itself as a not as a restrictive diet, but rather a lifestyle
Right.
centered around prolonged fasting. Holy crap.
Hmm.
Founded on the belief that humans historically endure periods of famine. It argues that the human body can sustain itself on just one meal a few times a week. Um, I guess, yeah, but I don't know. Well, what's guy's name?
I don't know.
Uh, let's see.
Snake diet guy.
Okay, but you're not thinking about doing that, are you?
No, 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 no,
Good.
no.
Good. Say that'd be just have to call the drop a dime. Call
No, you
the
got to you got to be careful. I went a couple years ago. I went for I fasted like I didn't eat anything for like 4 days. I made it for like 4 days, and it gets you to the point that when you do eat, it just makes you sick. So
well,
I
I remember back
don't.
back in the good old days, you and I fasted for a week.
Yeah, but I think we
I think
we
we had like I think you had coffee and I was drinking like chocolate milk, so it wasn't like a like
yeah.
uh
So we were getting calories. We were getting some calories, but I don't know, man. But yeah, I forgot about that. Anyway,
probably.
people didn't tune in for diet advice here. I say that every week, I think, but
Mm, well, I mean, okay. What's next? Oh, actually, you isn't there a question we're supposed to be asking?
uh, I think this is what you're talking about.
Motherfucker, give me 2 fingers of Southern Comfort.
That's it. I must be.
Yeah,
Am I that predictable, or are we just
but
following the show format?
we've become predictable.
Oh yeah. I am having. Speaking of being predictable, ramen coke. Yeah, favorite. One thing I did differently is those the frozen fruit juice you can get from in concentrate from the grocery store.
Yes, I do.
Yeah, I've taken to getting those and pretty much putting them into like a little little squeegee bottle and using those as a flavoring to my drinks. So I'll have like
That's pretty smart, man.
yeah, I mean, it's already a concentrated juice,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
And so yeah,
So, what concentrated flavor did you have in there?
yeah. Once again, really basic lemonade.
Okay.
What about you, my friend?
I am having some Tito's with a splash of Sunkissed. I mean, Sunkissed with a splash of Tito's.
I think you had it right the first time, my friend.
Uh,
Are you going to be slurring your words by the end of the show?
if I'm lucky. Mm,
Oh, you talk about being lucky if you're still verbal. I get
mm,
it.
hmm. Yeah. All right. So speaking of show format, let's move on. As I understand it, you have a George Floyd update for us. Something concerning Chauvin, the lead cop, right? The
Yeah,
lead.
two things actually. I guess it's a big week for Schumann. First, I don't have the story up on this one, but first, Chauvin's divorce got finalized this week.
Mm,
Yeah, I get the feeling that 2020 was bad for most people, but I think it was really bad for Derek Chauvin. Like, I get the feeling that he did not see himself in jail at the beginning of 2020.
Yeah. Well, yeah, yeah. So I wonder, did I guess I'm guessing the divorce kind of took place after? I don't know. I
Well,
mean,
I
I
mean,
guess it doesn't matter.
let's see here. Let me.
Probably, it's probably not a big. She probably realized there wasn't a big future for them going forward.
I don't know if this thing got started before the knee on the back of the neck or after the knee on the back of the neck, but I'm going to find out for us.
All right.
Let's see here. Um, Derek Chauvin finalizes divorce from his wife under secret terms as Minnesota prosecutor asks judge to reinstate third-degree murder charge over the death of George Floyd. Let's see here. And oh wow, yeah. Kelly Chauvin. Hey, have you checked out his wife?
I have not.
Yeah, she is a looker.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah.
Check that out after the
Okay,
show.
okay. Here it is. So Kelly Chauvin. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Let's just- Kelly Chauvin filed for divorce 2 days after her husband was charged with murdering or killing George Floyd on May 25th, raising suspicions that the move was to protect assets from civil litigation. 2 months later, Floyd's family filed a federal suit against Chauvin as well as the city of Minneapolis and the officer's three former colleagues. Blah 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 blah. Okay, so I mean, so they divorced, but they still might be on the team for one another.
Yeah, that sounds very plausible. Yeah.
Mm.
I mean, I'm not. You know, I hope it don't work, but I do that same shit, man.
Like, yo, you want to get what from me? Not if I can help it.
Yeah.
You see your picture?
No, I'll look at it later.
Yeah, it looks like she's wearing a sash that says Miss Minnesota. Looks like she was a
You
beauty
know,
pageant.
now that you say that, that sounds familiar. Like I'd heard that before. Yeah, he was married to Miss Minnesota, I guess. There you go. And what was part two? What was part two of this?
Part two is AG Barr, Attorney General Barr, quashed a plea deal by Officer Derek Chauvin in the murder of George Floyd. The fired Minneapolis police officer who held his knee to George Floyd's neck agreed to plead guilty to third-degree murder days after Floyd's death, but the then Attorney General William Barr rejected the plea deal. Okay.
Hmm.
Derek Chauvin and three officers involved in were uh, were fired after Floyd's death on May 25th and later arrested. Chauvin faces second-degree murder charge and is scheduled for trial in March. The other three officers are charged with aiding and abetting. Blah blah blah. Let's see here. What's the good stuff? Um, let's see here. All right. As part of the deal, officials now say he was planning to go to prison for more than 10 years, the Times reported. Local officials scrambling to yeah, local officials scrambling to end the community's swelling anger scheduled a news conference to announce the deal, but the deal fell apart as the Times reported, citing three law enforcement officials because AG Barr worried that it was too early in the investigation and it would be perceived as being too lenient. What say you?
Yeah. It No need for a plea.
You think that the entire city of Minneapolis would have burned if he got pleaded out?
Uh, it's quite possible. I don't know. Um,
Oh,
I'm sure that would have. Yeah, I'm sure that would have. 10 years. If it would have been like 10 years, yeah, people would have probably been upset.
also he was looking to be serving his time in a federal prison, which I don't know if you know anything about the difference between state and federal prisons, but presumably federal. I mean, if you have to go to prison, federal is the way to go.
Okay.
So if you're ever committing crime, make sure it crosses state lines. Okay.
All right. Well, that's easy. I literally live on the state line, so
Well, you just don't.
I'll just go over to Cincinnati.
Yeah,
Bless you.
just don't let your crime spree begin and end in the same state.
Oh, okay. Okay. Actually, I could do 3 states in just an hour, man.
Which ones?
I could do Kentucky, Ohio, and Indiana.
I don't know, man. It sounds like the more we talk, sounds like premeditation. We're talking about how to, get favorable prison terms and cushy places to go to jail.
So let's do it right, man. Let's do it right.
They say go big or go home.
That's right. All right, man. Moving on.
Well, just announce no updates on Arbery or Goodson.
Right. I don't suspect we'll ever hear about Goodson again.
I think we will. I think kind of like how Arbery. I mean, the shooting happened, and then months later, when people were like, "Wait a second, this stuff doesn't add up," and because that story was so just convoluted, just at first read, I think it's gonna get a second look by some folks.
That's a fair enough prediction, I suppose.
Sure.
Yeah. So honestly, Joe, I can't believe that you made me look this up. That you doubted me last week when I claimed that Joe Biden called Trump a racist, and then by extension, I say he was calling me a racist.
Yeah, I thought about that. I'm like, wait a second. Trump called a lot of people a lot of different names. So, I mean, the idea that someone would be,
But you stipulated last week that racist was the worst of the worst.
I said that being called a racist is worse than being called a Nazi.
Yes.
I did say that.
And I don't know that Trump called anyone Nazis or racist. I don't know what he called people but he never called anyone racists. And you questioned. Did Biden call him a racist? And I will admit I was kind of taken aback, but
well, I mean, what was my reasoning for that? Did it make sense? My reasoning was something to the effect of that. Biden's been a politician for 50 years, and politicians almost never say anything directly. So, for him to come out of his mouth and just say this guy right here is a racist would be out of character for a career politician, wouldn't it?
Maybe one that had all his faculties. Maybe.
Okay, let's hear it then.
I put this together. I didn't want to spend a lot of time on this, so I just grabbed like the first 3 that I came across. But the first one here, when Biden says Abraham Lincoln, he's making a snide reference to Trump when he says Abraham Lincoln here. So
Abraham Lincoln here is one of the most racist presidents we've had in modern history.
The issue of race. Vice President Biden, you say that President Trump's response to the violence in Charlottesville 3 years ago, when he talked about very fine people on both sides, was what directly led you to launch this run for president.
It is true. The reason I got in the race is when those people, close your eyes, remember what those people look like coming out of the fields carrying torches, their veins bulging, just spewing anti-Semitic bile, and accompanied by the Ku Klux Klan. A young woman got killed. And they asked the president what he thought. He said there were very fine people on both sides. No president has ever said anything like that.
It is who's
Now,
who in
second,
it, sir.
this is a president who has used everything as a dog whistle to try to generate racist hatred, racist division. This is a man who, in fact, you talk about helping African Americans. 1 in 1,000 African Americans has been killed because of the coronavirus. And if he doesn't do something quickly, by the end of the year, 1 in 500 will have been killed. 1 in 500 African Americans. This man is a savior of African Americans. This man cares at all. This man's done virtually nothing. What President Trump has done in going his spreading of racism, the way he deals with people based on the color of their skin, their national origin, where they're from, is absolutely sickening. No sitting president has ever done this. Never, never, never. No Republican president has done this. No Democratic president. We've had racists, and they've existed. They've tried to get elected president. He's the first one that has.
So those were just me scratching the surface. I'm sure I could have dug deeper, but yeah, Biden has just he just threw caution to the wind and laid it out there. So and you know I take offense to all that.
Yeah, I don't think you should be taking a. I think saying, well, I support Trump. He called Trump this, and so he indirectly is calling, or he by extension calling me the same thing. I don't think it works like that.
I think kind of does.
Okay.
But anyway, we don't need to dwell on that.
I honestly can't think of. Maybe I'll think of one later. But yeah, All right, cool.
Anyway, a lot of times I know that a lot of times we both will be like, yeah, we'll follow up on this next week, and then we never do. But I wanted to make sure that I followed up on that because anyway, I don't know if people know or not. We didn't put it on YouTube yet, but in between episodes, I did do an interview with my friend and coach Mike Davis in Charlotte, and that's on the main feed. If you get your shows on if you subscribe to the RSS feed, you already got the show. Otherwise, you can go to joehigh.com and get it. But yeah, we had like a good 45-minute, 50-minute interview where we talked about a lot about the basketball that he's in, the youth organization that he runs there in Charlotte, and then
Sorry, what's the name of the youth organization?
The Carolina Defenders.
Okay, and if I recall correctly, he's a basketball coach, right? Or he does some coaching of basketball.
Yeah, I don't know if he's going to this year or not, but he coaches the 17 and up league in the Defenders, and then he's also an assistant coach with a Catholic school down there. So yeah. So, but we mainly talked about the whole impetus behind the interview was to talk about COVID and how it's affected their sports and everything. But we did a lot of talking about basketball as well. But it was a good interview.
How long have you been coaching with this group?
I can't remember. I remember I think he says it in the interview, but I can't remember. But he's been there for almost for as long as he's been in Charlotte. So I don't know how long that's been. Several years though.
What was the highlight in your mind?
Of the interview? I don't. No real highlight. It was just interesting. If you're interested in that, we did a lot of the last half of the interview was a lot about our thoughts on COVID, which he and I are about like minded when it comes to that. So
Yeah, I got that. I got that sense.
no, no surprise there. But anyway, if you're interested, check it out. It's there.
Have you made it into a YouTube?
No, I will. You know what? I'll when I get you this show, I'll do that show as well. So
What?
you'll get two of them.
But I'll put it in before. So we'll have a 38 and a half. Cool.
Yeah, yeah. So and I guess the big story of the week is the impeachment trial is happening. Was this day 3 of it, I think?
I believe so. I mean, it seemed as if almost nothing else this week happened either.
Yeah, we were joking about that before the show. It's hard to find. We was scrambling just to find a skullduggery story.
Yeah.
It's like there's just nothing out there this week.
Yeah, like you know it's bad when the media isn't reporting bad news. So
Right.
that's like their bread and butter.
So I know we both worked during the day, but have you watched any of the impeachment or seen clips of it?
I've watched a portion of it, but I mean, my thoughts on the matter is it's like would you watch the Super Bowl? Actually, we could talk about the Super Bowl too, but would you watch the Super Bowl if you knew who was going to win already?
Who's who? I gotta ask, who do you think's going to win?
Well, I mean, I said this weeks ago. I said there's a 100% chance of Trump being impeached, an 85% chance of there being enough votes in the Senate to convict, but a 100% chance that he's going to. I mean, he's going to skate.
Okay.
So, I mean, you know, on January 6th, I thought to myself, yeah, he's going to get impeached, and based on the look of fear in some of those folks' eyes during the event on the 6th, yeah, I'm like, okay, even if you were a Trump devotee, I think getting run out. I mean, getting run out of the Senate chamber might serve to give people a moment of pause. So, but I've been following it on C-SPAN. So before work, I'll listen to C-SPAN, and then on the way home from work, I'll listen to C-SPAN, and that's pretty much been the main way I followed it. Have you followed it at all?
I tried to watch some of it, but I didn't. There wasn't anything like a trial, I mean, it just was like all I seen was just people talking and I couldn't stand it. I didn't watch very much of it. So
I mean, in a very real sense, it's kind of a rehashing of what we saw on January 6th. Basically, it's basically the Democrats talking. Well, thus far, it's Democrats going over what happened and saying that it's all Trump's fault. Wait a minute. So, do you believe he should not be impeached?
nah, not at all. It's all a sham. It's all
Sorry, what's all the sham?
this entire thing.
The impeachment.
Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, so the question
Again, I know you think that I know you think that he caused this, but you can't.
No, I mean,
you can't
no,
point to
even
anything that proves it.
no. But even yes, I believe he caused it. But but to say that he shouldn't even be impeached to make a determination of whether they think he's guilty or not. Well, guilty is not the word because it's not a criminal proceeding. But yeah, to think that they shouldn't even investigate it or it shouldn't be investigated. That's the part that I think is somewhat beyond the pale.
Was there any investigations done?
Not to my knowledge.
So what are we having a trial for?
Well, it's not a trial; it's an impeachment.
He's been impeached. This is whether to convict or not.
Oh no, yeah. Well, sorry. Well, this is the the aftermath of an impeachment is an impeachment trial.
Yeah, and that's what we're having now, right?
Yeah, yeah. It's a trial.
Right.
But I mean, an impeachment trial isn't the same as a criminal trial.
Okay.
Yeah.
But at least the first impeachment trial at least had witnesses and cross examinations and whatnot. I didn't see any of that. Again,
Well,
I haven't watched it all, but
well, yeah. I mean, to my understanding, you've not watched any of it, right?
like I said, I tried to watch some of it, but there was
Right.
nothing like a
So
trial. It was
on
just
day one, it was 8 hours of Democrat testimony. Sorry, opening arguments for Democrats and opening arguments for the Trump defense. Day 2 and 3 were basically 8 hours of the Democrats making their case. Tomorrow, Trump began to make his case, and they're supposed to. I think they're going to go into Saturday. Then after Saturday, they're going to have the opportunity to get witnesses and subpoena folks
okay.
if that's desired.
Okay. Well, anyway, I don't have a big opinion on this because I think the whole thing is a load of bull. But
Yeah, but like the thing I can't get over. I mean, if 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 I broke into a Walmart, if I forced my way to a Walmart, you would have no problem saying, yeah, you should not have been there, and there should be some legal consequence to that, right?
sure,
Yeah. So why is it any different than breaking in to the Capitol? Why should they not suffer any consequence for that?
they should, but Trump didn't do it.
All right. So you're all fine with every last one of those guys.
If they broke the law, then they should be prosecuted.
So if so, you're not saying that the people didn't break the law. You're just saying that Trump, his hands are clean.
Not everyone broke. Everyone there didn't break the law.
Well,
But
everyone that went inside did.
even the ones that were let inside.
Yeah.
Well, why did the cops let them in? Huh?
Let inside. Yeah, yeah. Those guys did too, because there was even though they were let inside, it was still an unauthorized entry. That just means the person who let them in is guilty too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, then, yeah, if they broke the law, then they should be prosecuted. But Trump didn't break the law.
Wow. I mean, yeah. I mean, I.
Prove to me that he did, without dog whistle, without saying dog whistle or whatever. What did he say that makes that? What could he say that you can point to that you think that he told people to go and do what they did?
Well, he told them to come to Washington, didn't he?
So are they not allowed to go to
No,
Washington?
no. I mean, they would not have been
Did
there
he say
to
come
do
to
that
what? Did he say?
thing if he had not invited them, right?
Oh my good! You see, that's the thing. You got to really stretch to try to make this, and you're just
No,
not.
it's not a stretch at all. He's the one that called them there. Those people would not have been in D.C. had it not been for Donald Trump inviting them, right?
So
Oh, no, I mean,
you can't. So they went there to exercise.
That's step one. None of those people would have been in D.C. had he not invited them to be there, right?
That's not an argument. That's not even
That's,
close.
that's
to
a statement of fact. That
Fine, but that has nothing to do with what happened.
It has everything to do because they could not have perpetrated a crime had they not been in D.C. and the president invited them to come to town, right?
Okay. First of all, and now stop. Let me speak.
If I were you, Ryan, I'll be laughing too because I will not be able to find. I believe this. Sorry, if I were you, I would not be able to find the fact that I believe that as that would be funny to me as well.
Can I make a statement?
No.
Wow. Okay.
Oh, make your statement.
Are you sure?
Yeah, sure.
So, by that reasoning, if I invited you to come and stay at my place for the weekend, and while you're here, you went and robbed Walmart, that's my fault. Because you wouldn't have been here had I not invited you. So the fact that you robbed the Walmart while you were here is my fault because I invited you here. Because otherwise, you wouldn't have been here.
Okay, so you're beginning to see the train of thought then, which is progress.
Well, it's a fucked up train of thought.
Come on,
I
man. Do
see
we have to
it.
lose that language?
For this instance, I use
No,
that word purposefully.
no. Come on now.
No, I'm serious. You are.
Come on. Like I'm never going to curse at you because I get upset.
I'm not
Because you
cursing
say
at
something-
you. I'm not cursing at you.
But
I'm just using a curse word to.
yeah, you know how that goes. I mean, there's no quicker way to get someone pissed off than to start using language that excites people in that way.
Okay.
Let's see here. So we're How do we talk about this and keep it PG?
Fine. We could. My sentiments are the same. I won't say the F word, but however, yeah, the reasoning is just completely illogical, and I'm amazed that you're trying to even make the argument. I think you're smarter than that. I seriously, I don't know how you're. I mean, you're like. So it's like almost like you're taking the responsibility away from the people who did it, and you want to say that it's all Trump's fault because
No,
he
did
invited.
you ever hear me say that it's all Trump's fault?
I'm not gonna.
No, you didn't.
Bits
So
about this, man.
you can, but yeah, I guess this is the problem I have. It is clear as day that Trump lost the election. Okay, it's clear as day that had he not lost the election, this would never have occurred. It's also clear as day that he was responsible for all those people being there. He's also the person that told them to go to the Capitol. He did not say, go and riot, but of course, he would never say that. In fact, one of our early episodes, hello?
I'm here.
One of our earlier episodes, we were talking about, who was that Trump lawyer? Michael Cohen. And we were talking about him, and I remember watching a speech with Michael Cohen, and he talks about how Trump has a way of speaking and telling people to go do his dirt, but never actually using the words to go do the dirt, so to speak. Now, I know that's not going to, okay, this is just a waste. Let's go to the next topic.
Yeah, I'm not arguing anymore.
All right, let's go to the next topic.
So last week we talked about the future of the Republican Party, and it doesn't look good. It's might even say it's on life support.
But I'll tell you why it's on life support, though.
Okay.
Because the outgoing leader of your party was able to rile up you guys and make you believe something that is demonstrably not true on multiple levels. It's funny. I keep on going back to this thing about misinformation, and it boggles the mind how we can both see the same event and come away with two totally different experiences from that event, and it's disconcerting.
You know what? Trump is gone. Most of us have let it go, but you guys are still holding on to him.
What do you mean? Most of us have let it go.
I'm not worried about Trump anymore. I don't care about Trump anymore.
He's going to be dominating the party for at least the next what? At least the next two election cycles. None of this will matter if Trump had really gone away.
Well, the left, and that's my definition from an episode or two back. The left. If when I say the left, if you say, "Hey, that doesn't describe me," then I'm not talking about you. But when I say the left, they can't let him go. They keep they won't let him go. They got to keep talking about him.
Well, I
They got
mean,
to keep.
part of that makes sense because CNN they need somebody to talk about.
Yeah.
But the fact that yeah, is this quick question: has Trump ever did anything wrong
Of
while in
course.
office,
Of course.
such as?
I don't know off the top of my head, man.
Yeah,
Sorry.
didn't think you would. Um,
What's that supposed to mean?
well, it's supposed to mean that you see Trump through rose-colored glasses.
You might as well use curse words because backhanded comments like that are just as offensive. You know.
I could have sworn you said that I was smart enough earlier, so that was pretty much the same vein, man.
Hmm. Okay. Uh, are we ready to move on?
Yeah,
Okay. So, as we discussed the last week, uh, we discussed the future of the Republican Party. We thought we'd this week we'd talk about the future of the Democrat Party, what problems they're facing. Um, Before we get into all of it, the one thing I want to say about both of the parties, and I've said this before, but um, I'm ready for new young blood to start taking over. You know what I mean? Like for all that I know I'm repeating myself, but for all that I did not like about Obama, he was at least our generation. You know,
yeah.
he
He
was
wasn't around like he couldn't have been drafted for Vietnam or
yeah. How old was he? How old was he when he was elected? Do you know?
ooh,
I don't know off the top of my head.
you know,
50s? Was he in his 50s?
I think he was
40s?
like in his 40s, but we can find that out.
Late for okay. So yeah, he's like our generation, I would say, and I was really kind of hopeful that that was going to be just I guess an indicator of the future. But then we came back to Hillary and then Donald and then now Biden. It's just the old guard just refuses to let go, and I think both parties need to shed the old guard, and because there's plenty of young blood in both parties, but that's just one observation.
But part of me says like uh, in this case is like in some ways is the devil is better than the angel you don't because the guys that have been there forever you know about where they're coming from. Some of these new guys like well, Cruz isn't exactly new, but can you imagine Cruz being in any real significant amount of power? I
I
mean,
don't know enough about him,
yeah,
but
I mean he's basically a corporate lawyer who tried to go the I'm a evangelical preacher route to be president, and then got shut down by Donald Trump.
nah,
He was
yeah, we
he was a former solicitor, the pretty much the attorney for the state of Texas, and used to argue cases before the Supreme Court all the time. And everything I know about the guy is, I think the word they used to apply to him is people repellent.
people repellent.
Yeah, yeah. But I mean,
That's
yeah, he's got a sniveling a sniveliness about him that makes him somewhat dislikable.
I get that because I think from what I've known of from what I don't know of him, but from what I've seen, he's like a really good debater.
Oh yeah, he's a
But
very good debater.
he does come across as someone that I just would not want to hang
Yeah,
out.
like sniveling.
Yeah,
But yeah, but all all indications are that he's smart as a whip. But yeah, his wife is I think his wife's like a Goldman Sachs banker.
Oh,
So
God,
like,
of
yeah,
course. It's almost an incestuous type of yeah
arrangement.
yeah arrangement. Yeah, banks, government, and big business. Man, they like they're
But
ugh.
other young Republicans, Josh Howie out of Missouri.
Yeah. You told me to. I failed. I didn't do my homework. You told me to get to familiarize. I'm sorry. Familiar. Ah.
Today, Junior.
You sure?
Familiarize myself with him, and I failed to do so.
Don't worry, he's going to be running for president. You'll
Okay.
have plenty of time.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll be talking about him in the future. He's one of the guys who's competing for, you know, him, Cruz, and several other guys are fighting to be the person first in line to kiss the ring of Donald Trump.
Okay.
But
Go ahead.
so yeah, some of the Republicans are scary, but also some of the Democrats are scary, like that AOC out of NYC.
AOC out of NYC. Yeah, yeah. I don't know how scary. How scary is she? You think? I mean, her. What do they call him? Like her gang of four or gang of
It's like the
five or whatever.
squad or something like that.
The squad. Yeah, they always seem to be clashing up against Nancy and everyone.
Well, I mean,
But
that's probably for the good because they represent that dynamic you spoke of the old blood just sitting around as being old and just sticking
mm,
around forever. And yeah, it's funny because I heard they played hardball with AOC, threatening to primary her because she's, I guess, talking out of turn too much.
mm. I I don't know, and I can't. I heard this somewhere. I don't have documentation to back it up, but I heard that she was like almost selected, like in almost a reality show type format to run
Yeah, I mean,
for the position that she had. Like like there was a group that auditioned her and others and selected her to run.
I think they would have been called the Justice Democrats.
Oh, you've heard about it?
Yeah,
Okay.
they're responsible for her, Corey Bush out of St. Louis. I think Omar out of Minnesota. So they've been doing a fair amount of recruiting.
That's got to make me wonder. Does the things that she say, are they hers, or are they telling her what to say?
I would not be surprised if a good portion of what comes out of her mouth is written by, you know, a Justice Democrat staffer, like her the whole Green New Deal.
Hmm.
Yeah, I don't believe for a heartbeat that she sat down and wrote it. Yeah,
Right.
I think some energy lobbyist on the green side of the equation sat down and wrote it and put it in front of her. But
So,
you were saying?
well, I was gonna say when you first brought her up, you brought her up as I think you brought her up as a negative. But do you think what? Do you think that she's too extreme for, or at least her views are too extreme for the future of the party going forward, or
Um,
what was your comment? What was your comment going to be on her when?
on AOC, I think she sucks up a lot of oxygen and doesn't
Mhm.
you know doesn't produce anything. It's not. I mean, if she showed up by herself, but now she had like a by now she had like a group of let's say 20, 30 other folks following her, then I'd be okay. This is somebody we should be paying attention to. But seeing as how she seems to be being marginalized at almost every turn, um, but yes, there's no doubt that the higher ups in the party see her as too liberal, um, too far, um, and I probably would agree with a portion of that because the whole Green New Deal, you're not going to change the entire energy infrastructure of the United States in one bill. No, you're not, that's not going to happen.
Right.
Um, the big thing for me about her that concerns me is her stance on affirmative action. Actually, not affirmative action, on reparations. She's of the sort that she believes uh, that reparations should be extended to Hispanics as well, and I just can't countenance that.
You know, that's we've talked about this before. I just, yeah, that's always going to be uh, a problem. I mean,
Well,
they want to. Hmm, isn't that? I'm trying to remember, but isn't that? I think they talk about this regularly on Mo Fax's podcast. That Kamala, she was like asked point blank, was she going to
oh yeah.
try to do legislation to specifically help blacks? And she said,
No,
no, we
yeah,
want to help everyone, or something. Or
yeah.
yeah.
Well, um,
And a lot of people think that that's the beginning of the end of her presidential bid.
yeah, that was the beginning and the end. And truth be told, Kamala had a there. To my mind, there is no way she could ever win the presidency on her own. Her background in California, she, I don't want to say she has too much blood on her hand, but she just put too many people away. Um,
Yeah,
I mean, there's there's being good at what you do, but then there's being a little too good at what you do.
right.
And but that is a great segue into what I think is wrong with the Democrats. Actually,
Okay.
you have a party that's wholly dependent upon um, a portion of its base to be able to win nationally. Basically, like there's no such thing as a Democrat president without African Americans showing up in huge numbers to support them. It doesn't happen any other way.
Right.
But the Democrat problem is that for the longest time they've been skating on their most important, most loyal demographic, which is African Americans. And I think what you began to see this term, this past election season, was you saw a Democrat, sorry, you saw a Republican, and not just any Republican, supposedly the worst Republican ever, do much better than any other Republican had done with African Americans. And so the fact that African Americans are becoming more politically astute, and I think we'll start to begin to demand more for their vote. We'll start demanding some type of exchange, some type of tangible something in their hand before they show up and vote for Democrats. And so I think that's a huge. I don't think the Democratic Party could not be what it is today. Could not be a party that could actually win the national election without African Americans. And the fact that African Americans are beginning to pull away and just yeah.
I want to go again. I want to go back to take a quote from the Mo Faxo, but he along those lines, he calls it every 4 years he calls it they blacktivate.
Yeah, yeah.
They blacktivate the African American vote.
Well, yeah, and so that's another thing. So that just like you said, they blacktivate. It's supposed to be activate. So the idea being is that, well, every 4 years we're just going to activate you, and you're going to show up and vote for us in droves. And then after the voting's all done, we're going to put you back in little box and put you away until next voting session. And so the idea that we want your vote, but we don't want you to be participating in the formulation of policies. And so that's one. The other thing is that it seems as if just as the Republicans are beginning, the Republican demographic is getting older. It seems as if the new primary demographic for the Democrats is getting older as well. Yes, African Americans played a significant role in getting biting across the finish line, but it was also suburbanites. So let's see here, people. we might know that will be like, future New Democrats. Uh, yeah, just think of your your average what upper middle class individual living in a suburb. That's who the Democrat primary demographic is. That's who they are targeting themselves as. But they're not necessarily giving credence or enough care and attention to the people who get them elected, so to speak. And yeah,
Hmm.
it's probably a little more convoluted. But basically, um, Democrats, Democrats. I'm sorry, I just lost my thought.
Well, that's okay. Um, do you think do you think that the Democrats are beholden to too many ex, groups with like on the fringe, like the LGBT community, the Rainbow Mafia, the just do you think they're beholden too much to groups like that? Because I really do. I mean, it's hard to say. There's no way to tell now, but like I said, things are going to be things will be abused, and all of this special attention it's being paid to the LGBT, or well, not the LGBT at whole, but the transgender rights thing. Um,
Um, yeah, yeah. I mean, it's it's funny. I know this is something else from Mo Facts. He talks about how oftentimes, in terms of policy, they'll use the African American experience for civil rights as a touchstone.
mhm.
But then everyone else touches that stone and goes, steps right past African Americans, and I think he says leaving African Americans holding the door, so to speak.
Yeah, they open the door, but then they just end up holding the door while everyone else goes through.
Everybody else goes and enjoys their rights. But
Yeah.
I think that's going to be something that's going to be that's one of the reasons that I think that the Democrat Party is in much more trouble than anyone's allowing for. People are like, oh my God, Biden beat Trump. This isn't as great. First of all, it should not have been nearly as close as it was. Um, yeah, I think we had talked about this earlier. Any other president that had been presiding over an economy that was in smithereens and a worldwide pandemic, chances favor that person is usually going to be a shoe in for not winning. But the fact that Donald Trump was able to put together such a vigorous, strong fight and almost pull it off should be a warning bell for Democrats. But
Um,
what
what
do you I mean? What do you think's wrong with it? I mean, I think I have a broad idea of what your qualms with the Democratic Party are, but there's nothing like hearing it straight from the Newman's mouth.
well, I don't know, man. I mean, like I said,
Oh, okay.
I'm ready
Here's
for the old guard to leave. If I got to pick a problem, I don't know. I just think that it's the well. I don't know. I think I need to make a distinction when I talk about the Democrat Party and Democrats, because I don't think that I'm all my neighbor. If all of my neighbors are Democrats, I don't think your rank and file Democrat throughout the country holds the same values as the elected Democrats that are in Washington.
Hmm.
I don't think, I mean, we've seen, I mean, the Democrat has evolved over the years, right? I mean,
Well,
I
yeah.
think
I mean,
you listen to speeches of like JFK, and there's no way that the Democrat Party would put up with him today. They've really. I think that at least when I talk about like just the Democrat Party in Washington, I think has just went completely far left, like to ridiculous proportions, and that's just my problem, man.
What
I
year did they go off the rails in your mind?
oh I don't oh man.
Was there ever a time when you were like, yeah, they are on the rails?
Um, hindsight is obviously 2020, but um, looking looking back, I don't think. I mean, looking back, I don't think Clinton was that. I mean, that bad. Um, I kind of wish the Democrat Party was the Democrat Party of Clinton, almost Bill Clinton. I mean, Bill Clinton. I mean,
It's funny
um,
because Bill Clinton isn't even welcome in this party anymore. With good cause, actually. If you look at some of the dirt he did,
well,
aside from the obvious dirt.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I'm not speaking about. I don't know about all of that, but I mean, I've heard. I don't know I don't know specifically what you're talking about, but yeah, I mean, I know that he's got a shady background, but at least then, I don't know. I just, and maybe this is just, and again, this is me, and this is as maybe we're seeing things differently. Two people, looking at watching the same movie, but seeing two different things. I really do feel like the Democrat Party in Washington, the elected, they it's like they almost just hate. They just don't like this country the way that it is, and they want to change it. And I think they, I think I really liked the one thing about Trump was I liked the America First, uh, the America First, whatever you call it, slogan or mantra or whatever it was.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, and I think that I think that the and I look at the Democrat Party, and I think that they're like everyone else but America first. And yeah, I don't know. That's how I see it.
Hmm.
I know that it's different than um, a lot of others, but that's kind of how I see the Democrat Party. But as far as do I think that it's in trouble for the future? I guess my analysis would be that there's a lot of fringe factions that are fighting for very loud, very vocal minorities that are fighting for power of the party, and
Hmm.
um, I don't want to. I don't necessarily. I don't know if I necessarily want to see AOC and her squad just stomped out. But I don't know. I definitely will. I definitely want to see young blood coming in, and that's with both parties. Um,
There's actually talk of AOC challenging Chuck Schumer.
that'd be interesting. I what I don't know. I mean, I think Chuck probably has just the incredible kind of backing that AOC couldn't even imagine having.
Yeah, yeah. He's the
But
senator from Wall Street.
so I don't know. It would if she was to do that. Would I mean and lost? Would that end her career, or would she be able to go back to the House? And
Oh yeah, I mean, assuming that the people, assuming the Democrats still supported her, uh, but yeah, like I said, they're already trying to find someone. Actually, they already found someone to run against her.
hmm,
Actually, the person who's going to be running against AOC, I think she's a pretty hot woman too. Let's see here,
not that that matters.
at all. Well, I mean, no, it does a little bit. I mean, if you Oh yeah, so yeah, slightly nails down. But yeah, yeah, maybe I need to start eating more before the show because I'm losing my words a lot today.
Here, you get one of these then.
Today, Junior?
Today, yeah,
Joan's sitting over here and she's like, "Come on, man, you got me queued up with all these clips, but you're not using any of them."
but uh, yeah, yeah, Democrats they're going to be around, but they're going to have to do a lot of changing, and I also think that there's too much there's too much Republican light running around the ranks of the Democrats nowadays too. You got this group called the
Ooh, and that's interesting. That's funny because that's
well,
yeah,
I mean,
that's what we call them, the rhinos over on the Republican side. But yeah, that's interesting.
well, I mean, ever since Clinton, so back in the after what Carter got his shellacking from Reagan, and then they got another shellacking from Bush. The Democrats sat around like, "Hey, we can't keep on taking these L's like this," and so basically, they kind of came up with you've heard of the New Democrats, right?
Yes.
Yeah, basically they were supposed to be basically what socially liberal, pro-business Democrats, which basically means
Is that Southern Democrat? Is that the Southern Democrats?
oh no, it's not just Southern. It's all over the country, and so you've got you've got like a new Democrat coalition. They're from all over. Think places like New York. Bill Clinton was one. Yeah, most yeah, a lot of Democrats are the so yeah. Yeah, they could probably take off that portion of the Democratic Party and take out the rhinos from the Republican Party. Then there'd be three parties. There'd be the Democratic Party, the old Republican Party, and the Trump Party or the Patriot Party.
Let me ask you: Did you uh, you probably studied this more than I have, but did did the founders intend on a two party system,
No, not at all.
or did a two party system just kind of
It
become?
emerged after it emerged after the formation of the country. In fact, George Washington was neither a Federalist or a Democratic Republican. He was an independent.
Hmm.
And so, but it's funny because they say, he walked like a Federalist, talked like a Federalist, but he wasn't a Federalist.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think we both parties are kind of like terrified of a third party. I mean, because it'll fracture. It would either fracture depending on the party. It would either fracture the Republican voter base, or it would fracture the Democrat
Mhm.
voter base. But it's I don't know. I've heard people, and I know that these are things that people say probably without a lot of thought, but you know, get rid of all the parties and just let people run on their bona fides, I guess. And
Yeah, but
I don't know logistically how that would, if that could work or not. I don't
yeah,
know.
I think that would quickly devolve back into a two-party system. I
Mm.
mean, you give people too many options, they get confused. So perhaps,
What? No, not good. No, go ahead. Never mind.
oh yeah, I was done.
I was just going to say. I mean, I have a loose, and I'm almost embarrassed to ask, but I guess I've never really cared enough to look into myself. But what is like England's system of government? Like,
They have or a parliamentary monarchy where you
okay,
have a prime minister,
yeah,
and you pretty much have you've got two main parties, but you have many other smaller parties, and basically think of it as you know, the equivalent of our president would be the queen, or the monarch,
Yeah.
and basically the prime minister is the head of government.
Do their smaller parties ever get any kind of power?
No, they end up sometimes in power sharing agreements, and so let's say nobody got a clear majority to put together a functioning government. They may have a coalition government
Hmm.
whereby they're like, okay, um, my party didn't have enough didn't win enough seats to take power on its own, but if we link up with this other party, it'd be like the Republicans linking up with the Libertarians
Okay. Okay.
and agreeing to split policy issues down the center, so to speak.
Hmm. Okay.
But yeah, our systems are really different. Uh, one thing, well, I think the English system is more responsive to the people. I think here in the states, I mean, their big fear was having one entity become too powerful, and so they did a very good job of chopping and dicing that up and making there multiple spheres of influence. And that's probably why things are getting as bad as they are, because the gears that make things go in a democracy, aka compromise, is no longer really happening.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
And I'm about to say, as evidenced by our future, our past conversation, uh, it seems as if too many of our leaders and too many of us in general have gotten to the point where we're not even able to agree on a set of salient facts, and so it's
Well, in Washington, I think that's a good thing, man. The slower things happen in Washington, the better.
it's a good thing until it's not. Uh, I would agree that probably 80% of the things that the government does, the slower the better. Sure, if for nothing else, you have more stability with things progressing slowly. But there are certain things where you need to be able to hit the
Well,
gas, so to speak.
yeah, but when all of Washington like agrees and flies into or passes like just big sweeping legislation, man, we usually end up losing rights.
Well, it's funny you should say that, because you say that when all of Washington agrees, basically that's everyone else should be a little nervous.
Yeah.
And the last time that happened, well, before the COVID bills, would have been 9/11,
Yeah, yeah,
where
yeah,
they,
yeah.
where
That
they where
was
they got together and stripped away so many of our expectations of privacy and empowered the police. I mean, we're pretty much in the police state. I'm not sure why no one ever talks about that. I'm also not sure why anyone ever talks about going back and stripping the AM. Actually, I think I may have told you about this a few weeks ago about the war powers. So it's not war powers.
yeah, yeah. You did. You mentioned that. Yeah,
Um,
because once the government gets power, it never gives it back.
yeah, well, yeah. Once they get their claws in there,
And they may not have masterminded 9/11, but they sure as hell took advantage of it.
oh yeah, the whole phrase "never let a crisis go to waste."
Prices go to waste. Yeah.
Hmm.
Um, one other thing I wanted to touch on before we move on, I thought maybe that this might have been the year, but do you think that ADOS, the American Descendants of Slaves, will ever, as a group, will ever get any kind of traction when it comes to, uh, I guess, political influence?
Um,
And
I
I haven't heard this, but in third time I keep mentioning this, the MoFax show. The last episode was really good. I listened to the entire thing. It was really good. But they mentioned that, and I haven't heard this myself, but they referenced that mainstream is trying to change ADOS from American Descendants of Slave to African Descendants of Slaves,
I
which is a big change if you think about it.
oh, that's a huge change. Yeah. African descendants of slaves. I
Yeah,
mean,
but yeah,
yeah, that includes the United States and all the Caribbean and yeah,
everywhere.
pretty much everybody. Every non-white person, sorry, every black person in the Western Hemisphere.
Yeah. So when I say ADOS, I mean American
Yeah, yeah,
descendants.
yeah, yeah.
Do you think that they're going to get more? That they will eventually get more political power?
Well, I think as Joe Biden gets up there and pretty much shows black people his ass, which I think he's done. Yeah, I think there exists a heightened possibility that people are going to start taking notice because essentially what Joe Biden did is he rode a black wave to election, and then as soon as he crossed the finish line, he's like, okay, done there, done with this, and now let's go. Let's let the immigrants in.
Who was that real popular morning radio talk guy? He's a black dude. It seemed like all the candidates had to go onto his
Okay,
show.
yeah. Charlemagne the God.
Charlamagne the God. Is he? I haven't heard about him anymore, but he was instrumental in kind of, I think, shutting down talk of ADOS, and then also promoting um, Kamala and
Oh yeah,
I don't know, maybe Biden, probably Biden.
yeah,
But does he have it? I haven't heard anything about him lately.
yeah. He's I think the show he's on what the Breakfast Club or something like that. The
The
Breakfast Club.
Breakfast Club, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, that's it.
and to me, he's an agent.
Yeah,
Basically, you know what I mean by agent.
sure.
Person who's there but really represents. Yeah, not being forthright with who he
Yes,
represents and why.
someone who really doesn't want people to look into his financial history or things like things like that.
Yeah, yeah. And also, to me, I never understood why they go and talk to him because I guess I understand why because he's where the eyes are. I mean, if you're running for office, yeah, you need to get in front of people who already have a bunch of eyes on them, and so. But I guess I wish I wish there were a more thoughtful person to go to.
I wish there was a Joe High
You
to
know
go
what?
to.
There is a Joe High, but
We need to get him more eyes, more listens, whatever.
well, I mean, we have the millions of people on this podcast, and so if this doesn't do it, I have no idea. Maybe it's me.
No, I think we need to and this is for off the air talk, I guess, but we need to like reinvigorate our marketing
Push.
um, our marketing push. Yeah.
Okay.
Because there's things there's things we can do. We just need to do them.
I,
Yeah.
I'm all ears. I'm eager. I have tried and failed. Like I was putting it on with friggin' Craigslist and Facebook and yeah, and we never seem to.
Yeah, we'll come back. We'll come back at it. We'll reevaluate and come back at it stronger because I don't know. There's got to be I just don't know them, but there's got to be things we can do. We need to maybe reach out to other podcasts and do the sharing of well, basically we cut a commercial for our show and share it with try to get other podcasts to play it while we play other podcast commercials and stuff. I don't know. Well, we need to investigate. So
Let's you want to do a powwow later this let's say Saturday or Sunday?
yeah,
If
let's
you're,
do that. Yeah, let's do that.
Good, very good.
Well, according to the agenda, that brings us to this week in skullduggery, and we have a crazy story. But before we do that, I have a clip here that I want to play. I'm not 100% positive of. I'm not 100% positive of. I kind of am. Do you remember a few years ago there was a story about some guy? I guess there was a protest or something going on, and some guy getting shot in the nuts with
The
a
taser.
rubber bullet.
Oh. Uh,
I vaguely remember it, but that's what this clip is about.
well, yeah,
And
I guess I mean, if you're going to get shot in the nuts, you want it to happen with a rubber bullet.
well, that's true.
I mean,
If you have to.
yeah, like of my own accord, I would not have chosen this, but
Well, I guess as I guess places, I don't know. I wanted to almost call it a boys club, but it's not. But whatever. This I think this clip kind of summarizes everything. But I just when it gets to the end and I just had to laugh. So I hope that everyone gets a chuckle out of this, and thoughts go out to the guy who was shot in the nuts with a rubber bullet.
do you know if he got to keep his nuts?
I don't know. Here we go.
Take a look at these images. They're the front and back of a special coin that officers had to celebrate shooting a man in the groin during a protest in 2017. ABC 15 investigator Dave Biscabing not only getting pictures of that coin, he also discovered the chief knew about it and no one was disciplined or even investigated.
And a guy just got shot with a rubber bullet.
The video went viral, and the officers celebrated the shot with a challenge coin. We obtained a graphic image of the front saying "Good night, left nut," and we got a picture of the back of the actual coin. It has the date and says "Make America Great Again, one nut at a time."
Was this a real story?
Yes, it was a real story.
This once again, yeah. It sounded like kind of like a story we had a few weeks ago with the anal butt swab for COVID.
That I think that was real, man. I've seen a story or I seen a headline. Okay, the headline was about how China was like possibly diagnosing like dogs and cats and pets with COVID or whatever. And then I just briefly looked at a comment and it was like, I hope they're not trying to use the new Chinese method of testing with them or something like that. I'm guessing that they was talking about the old poop shoot.
Yeah, but have you noticed? Have you heard any have you heard like a CBS or NBC report on that? Like
No, I haven't.
You'd expect for it to be on one of the big three: ABC, CBS, NBC, right?
Well, I don't. If it's something that's taking place in China, not necessarily.
Yeah.
But if it was, yeah. But I see your. I still if I kind of almost hope it's a hoax because it'd be so great, it'd be so hilarious. But I don't know, man. I'm still thinking that it's a real deal, man.
Well, that and if it is if it isn't a hoax and it's efficacious, it's only a matter of time before it comes over here.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm hoping against hope that that we're gonna see a story in a few weeks about this hoax that went around the world a couple times.
Oh, hey, you want to hear a pretty cool conspiracy?
Yeah, sure, always.
This is about the test, the nose tests, and they're saying that someone was talking about how, I guess when you go so far back in the nose that the bone that separates your nose cavity from your brain cavity is like very porous,
Uh-huh.
and that they was like saying that that all these tests, these swabs might have like some Chinese, I don't know, some sort of a something on them that when they stick that swab way back into your nose, you know, because you always hear about how the tests are so invasive, they go
Mhm.
clear back in your sinus cavities. But that those swabs have some stuff on them that they're rubbing on that porous bone that's making it into the brain cavity, and it is, I don't know, going to do something.
Oh, I mean,
I don't know what, but it's going to do something bad.
yeah, I've always thought that if there ever was a something that was going to kick off the zombie apocalypse, it would start off as like a response to some other disease. So like all these people rushing out and getting this new vaccine, they're going to find out. Oh yeah, in 3 years' time, the RNA thingy starts to eat away at at your
Crazy.
brain or something like that. So,
Yeah. Whew.
yeah, so
Anyway.
yeah, I'd be hard. Yeah, I'm not getting the getting that thing.
And I don't want to get a test just for the fact that of how invasive it sounds. I mean, I'm not necessarily worried about Chinese something getting into my brain, but that just sounds like really bad.
Yeah, nothing about that sounds like.
Have you had a test, or do you know anyone has had one of those tests?
I have not. Um, yeah, but I mean, yeah, someone sticking a Q-tip in your face, up your
Mm-hmm.
nose. That doesn't sound like fun.
Crazy. So anyway, on to the main story, and this is it's funny. How we both kind of originally thought that this came from Europe, but it was no, it's Florida.
Yeah, it's like I said, a Florida man story.
Yeah, shall I?
Please.
It's pretty metal, says man who turned his uncle's skeleton into a guitar. And I would urge people to either look this up or go to the show notes and scroll down to the bottom to the skullduggery section, because there's a picture of it, and
And
if
this is
you're into that kind of thing, it looks pretty wicked, I guess. The guy holding it has an 80s hair metal band hairdo. But yeah, a Florida musician says turning his late uncle's skeleton into a sick guitar was the best way to honor the man who first introduced him to heavy metal. The Tampa, Florida musician who goes by the moniker Prince Midnight says he crafted the instrument out of the medically prepared remains of his Uncle Philip. It's pretty metal to play a guitar made out of skeleton, I have to say, he told As It Happens host Carol Off. Prince unveiled the final product called the Skelecaster on his Instagram. What does the skeleton guitar sound like?
It should sound like this guy getting his ass kicked. That's what it should sound like.
It should, yeah. The Skelecaster is the result of lots of bureaucratic wrangling, family skirmishes, and experimental craftsmanship, Midnight said. So yeah, the county or the state didn't want to give it to him. His brother, or what, his dad has banned him from family gatherings.
As well as he should be.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, because I'm reading this and it's like, but then I think about it and I'm like trying to apply this to like my family.
Yeah.
Nah.
Yeah, but the thing is, there's always, every family has a weirdo in it, right? but hopefully your family weirdo isn't this weird. I mean,
I think I'm probably the family weirdo, and I'm not that weird.
yeah. Well, I mean, you did used to always make those references to chickens and clucking sounds, but I always thought that you were just kidding and being dramatic. That was the booze talking.
Oh,
Exactly. That there it is. But,
oh,
but yeah, yeah. This is. I wonder. I wonder if this guy has a girlfriend.
no. There's no way. This is the guy that when he asks for numbers, they always give him like 1-800 numbers or something.
Or the suicide hotline number.
Ooh, so that's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Problem is you have to go around memorizing suicide hotline numbers.
Yeah, it's this is like a really long article for the topic of a skeleton guitar, so I'm not going to read it all, but it's yeah, it's crazy. And yeah, I just wonder what he had to do because I'm pretty sure that there's a. I mean, first of all, like aren't remains typically like considered like biohazards?
Well, yeah, they said it was medically treated, right?
Well, he did say that.
Yeah, but I yeah.
But what about gross abuse of a corpse or something like that?
Well, I mean, I guess in Florida they don't have that one.
Oh my God! With a taxidermist's help, Alberta man. Oh, that might have been maybe that was a. The idea didn't go over well with his mother at first.
At first,
when this first started happening, she was really upset. She said, "It's sacrilegious. He needs to lie, and rest." And she was walking away, and I was like, "You think Uncle Phil would rather be a guitar or a box of bones?" She threw her arms up. She goes, "Probably the guitar."
oh wow. Wait. So was this his mother's brother or his?
I guess I'm guessing it was his mother's brother.
So what's Dad's problem with it then? Besides the obvious, you're using.
Well, I think maybe I assumed Dad, and so I said Dad. I don't think the article actually said Dad anywhere. For some reason, that's where my head went was Dad,
Oh,
but I guess it was his mom.
well, hey, you know what? She knows her brother.
Which makes things even worse.
Yeah.
Because I can't even imagine. Yeah, I can't even. I can't imagine it so much that I can't even verbalize it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like, yeah. Could you imagine, like, you see him playing the guitar, and you know that was your brother. And oftentimes in heavy metal concerts, they destroy their guitars.
Yeah.
But I guess they won't be doing that here.
But most of all, he says it makes him feel close to his uncle again. I feel like Uncle Phil is not just here now figuratively, he's here literally too, he said. I'm literally giving my Uncle Phil hugs while he's figuratively with me, creating, heavy metal riffs.
Yeah. Maybe Uncle Phil. I'm not going to say that. I'm trying to think what would make you want to use someone's bones as an instrument, and yeah, nothing positive pops to mind.
Yeah, and really looking at this, it doesn't look that sturdy.
No.
Like if you did anything beyond just a few, strumming, light strums, that it might fall apart. I don't know.
Do you see the strings?
No, I can't see anything from this picture. But don't get me wrong, but doesn't like the majority of the sound of or all of the sound of a guitar come from the body, the empty, like the. Yeah,
that's for an acoustic guitar, but
that's an acoustic. Yeah,
I get the feeling that this isn't gonna, cut. Yeah, oh my goodness.
Yeah, I'm guessing this one he plugs in. He's got the amp.
Yeah.
The plug into the amp goes right up the old pooper there. Right, the coccyx, or whatever that bone is.
It's like, well, I really do hope that Uncle Phil really loved heavy metal,
He had to have.
because
And he had to have been a big influence on this guy, man. Look, his gloves even has spikes around the wrists.
yeah, yeah. But if I was Uncle Phil, I would make sure I would make it my business to come back and haunt this guy.
This guy is still playing nothing but like 80s Motley Crue and Poison music. I'm positive of it. So anyway, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Do they ever mention his real name? I mean, I wouldn't want my name mentioned either, but
No, I think it's just. I think they just say his moniker. He's the Prince Midnight.
yeah, that was a cop out. They I mean, if you're going to do that, your name needs to be on blast.
That's funny. Alrighty. So it's time for us to get out of here, Joe.
Is that all she wrote?
That's all she wrote, man. I want to again, YouTube people, if you're listening, please like, subscribe, and share. And even liking, I think I think that even liking might up the chances of us maybe being recommended by the algorithm. I'm not sure, but definitely if you can just share with people,
Well,
that's great.
my understanding that like or dislike, as long as you respond at all, that helps us.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I don't have any idea why somebody would dislike us, but if they feel so inclined, go ahead, I guess.
Well, yeah, it's all good for us. I mean,
That's what they say, right? Any publicity is good publicity, or something like that.
they say that, but that's not true.
That's one of those. That's just one of those things that we always take for granted because someone said it enough, right?
Yeah, I mean, and as evidence for that, our previous story.
Yes.
Awful.
Well put. Well put. All right, everybody. 7 days. We're doing this again. Be there. Be square. Joe. It's been interesting, and but most of all, it's been fun. And to all our listeners, please know that Joe and I still tight friends, despite our differences. It's what you're getting a taste of what some of our old beer
Conversation like
drinking sessions used to be like, man.
well, actually, we're actually a lot more subtle now because we're not drinking as much because
We're not. Yeah, that's right. Imagine us having the previous Imagine us talking about that with about 3 craft beers in us and maybe 3 or 4 shots of tequila in us.
Yeah.
They may have called the rent-a-cops at Fountain Square,
Well, there were always a lot of rent-a-cops there.
but they might have been looking for us. All right, Joe. It's been real. Take care, and talk to you later.
Later. Bye bye.